teachers, parents and guardians, invited guests, my fellow students, ladies and gentlemen, a good afternoon. My name is Allan Mukisa, the information prefect of this institution and peer mentor, DIY Club, Nairambi Seed Secondary School. First and foremost, I thank the Almighty God for granting us life and good health to gather here today. I also extend my sincere appreciation to the head teacher, the Kukuza team, parents, teachers, and everyone who has made this project demonstration possible. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my great honor to stand before you to present my project entitled Gang Involvement. For your information, this is a very important topic because it affects young people, schools, families, and entire communities. Ladies and gentlemen, today I'll discuss the meaning of gang involvement, types of gangs, causes of gang involvement, characteristics of gangs, effects of gang involvement. Then my counterpart, JB, will take us through the ways of preventing gang involvement, the role of students, parents, religious leaders, and the government in elimination of gang involvement. Ladies and gentlemen, you can be asking a question, what a gang is. Ladies and gentlemen, a gang is an organized group of people who identify themselves as members of one group and often engage in unlawful, violent, or antisocial behaviors. Ladies and gentlemen, many groups have leaders, they have nicknames, they have rules, they have symbols, and members who are expected to obey the orders. Ladies and gentlemen, not every group of friends is a gang. Positive groups such as football teams, debate clubs, music clubs, the Scouts and Girl Guides, church youth fellowships, and school prefects bodies. These help young people develop good character and leadership skills. Ladies and gentlemen, as our topic, gang involvement, we would like to understand what gang involvement really means. We've seen that a gang is just a group of people who identify themselves as members of that very group, and they often engage in unlawful, violent behaviors. Gang involvement, ladies and gentlemen, simply means participating in or supporting. You can't be not participating in, but you are supporting. So you are really involving in gangs. Ladies and gentlemen, a person may begin by simply just associating with gang members and later becomes actively in criminal behaviors. A young person may not realize that you are being recruited until you have already become part of the group. Types of gangs. Ladies and gentlemen, we have very many types of gangs in our schools, societies. One of them, we have the criminal gangs. These are involved in robbery, theft, burglary, and violent crimes. Apart from those ones, we have the street gangs. These usually operate around trading centers, markets, landing sites, and urban settlements, as you see them. We have the school gangs. Some learners in school form groups separately, and these groups just for bullying others, destroying school property, and intimidating fellow students. Those are there in schools. We have the cyber gangs. These use technology to commit online fraud. They steal personal information and deceive people. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to look at what are the major causes or what are the reasons to why young people join gangs. One of them is peer pressure. This is one of the leading causes. Young people like me and you often want to belong to a group. They fear rejection and therefore copy friends even when they know that something is wrong. As the saying goes, that show me your friend, I tell you who you are. To add on that, poverty is also among the causes. Some young people believe that gangs provide quick money. Instead of working honestly, they choose shortcuts that eventually destroy their future. Ladies and gentlemen, to add on that, there is school dropout among the causes. When children leave school early, they become idle. In that, they are more vulnerable to gang recruitment. In some fishing communities within Buvuma Island District, children who leave school to engage in fishing or in other informal jobs, they are more likely to be influenced by criminal behaviors. Additionally, there is poor parenting for the parents. Children require love, discipline, supervision from the parents. There are parents who never know where their children spend most of their evenings, may unknowingly expose them to the dangerous influences within the communities where we stay. The very last one is social media influence. Some movies and social media posts glorify violence and criminal lifestyles. In that, young people may wrongly believe that gangs can make them powerful, respected, strong, and they end up joining the gangs. What are the characteristics of gangs? The gang members particularly. Gang members often carry dangerous weapons. They use threatening languages. They dress in ways that identify their groups. Like, for example, you see those people on TikTok, the Fangon Forest. If it is to put on Timberland, they all put on Timberland. You see some learners in schools, if they are to identify their group, they can decide that, for us, our group, we don't tag in. You see them deliberately moving, they have not tagged in, just as a dress code for their group. They abuse drugs, most especially the street gangs. They abuse drugs. They are usually aggressive. From nowhere, someone is just annoyed. Then, parents and teachers. These are the signs that can show you that someone or a young person may be joining a gangs. Pay attention to some young person when he or she changes friends, has changed from the good friends as now is operating with the bad friends. When someone frequently stays away from home, when someone uses abusive language, or when someone begins using alcohol and drugs, and lastly, when someone begins carrying unexplained money. From nowhere, you ask him or her, where have you got the money? That I've just picked it on the way as I was coming. Effects of gang involvement. What are the effects? How does gang involvement affect our schools, the communities where we stay, and our nation at large? On individuals, a gang member may lose interest in education. I believe we all came here just for education. But if you involve in school gangs, you will lose the interest in education. So what will you do? You will just begin fighting people here, there, and then